All right, part two of this video talking about George St. Pierre and how good he really is, and how is he really as good as people think he is. Yeah, obviously I was saying about him and Josh Koscheck. I think how I think at this point Josh Koscheck may be his biggest challenge, and but I still don't believe that. That being said, I still don't believe that Josh Koscheck is the one to bring him down. I mean, obviously everybody has a puncher's chance, but I believe that Koscheck is truly a better wrestler than George St. Pierre. I do believe that. I just think that George St. Pierre is able to throw people off with his and his, let's just say, his ability to fool you into thinking he's going to have a striking match, throw a couple of punches, then shoot in for a double leg takedown. That's about all. But if they were actually to go head up, just one-on-one in a regular wrestling match, Josh Koscheck would win all day. Period. You know what I'm saying? But this is MMA, so we have to take it for what it is. Do I believe who do I believe is the better athlete? I believe George St. Pierre is the better athlete. And that's just what I believe. Josh Koscheck is like right behind him. He's just not good enough. He's just like a lower brand of George St. Pierre. That's just it. You know what I'm saying? But I think he hits much harder than George St. Pierre. But that being said, what do I think is going to happen in this fight, going in the fight with George St. Pierre versus Koscheck? I think George St. Pierre is going to finally win by knockout. Yes, I do. I think he's going to knock Josh Koscheck out because he is training with Freddie Roach, and that really doesn't mean shit. But George St. Pierre's striking is not all that bad in the first place. It's not great. It's not great at all. It's been the same ever since he's fought, in the beginning. He got this same gay-ass spinning back kick, the Superman punch, the jab, and he is good at it, So if you're good at something, I mean, he's getting the job done with it, you know what I'm saying? But I think he's actually going to take his striking to a higher level. He's training with one of the best boxing coaches in the game, trainers, and I think honestly, he's going to elevate to the next level. I think Josh Koscheck is going to go in there just with that same old overhand right, trying to knock George St. Pierre out, and I do believe he's going to have his wrestling ready this time. That being said, I think George St. Pierre he's not dumb, he's not stupid. He knows Josh Koscheck is going to have his wrestling on point, and he knows that Josh Koscheck knows that George St. Pierre is a good wrestler, so he's going to have that ready. So that being said, he knows that Josh Koscheck is going to go in there looking for an easy knockout. And that right there is going to be Josh Koscheck's downfall. He's going to go in there expecting to knock George St. Pierre out, and that just isn't the case here. That's just what every guy thinks. Every guy thinks they can go in there and knock George St. Pierre out just because of what Matt Serra was able to do to George St. Pierre, even though I don't believe that was a real fight. That's my opinion, but that's another story. I think it was fixed. But a lot of guys think that's the key of beating beating George St. Pierre, but it's just really not the case here. The key to beating George St. Pierre is to outworking him. Yeah, it may seem like it's hard to do, but it's really not. You have to put the rush on him before he puts the rush on you. You have to put the pressure on George St. Pierre before he puts the pressure on you. And goddamn it, when I say don't let up, you don't let up. You make sure you come in shape and ready to fight 10 rounds if you have to. And that is the only way to beat him, period. It's going to take a guy who has a wrestling background like Josh Koscheck, but Josh Koscheck does not have the overall skill to beat George St. Pierre. Now, if a guy had Josh Koscheck's wrestling, and he was able to be, to be on George St. Pierre from the beginning, the time that bell rings, he just goes out there and rush George St. Pierre, and just don't let up. That's the kind of guy that's going to beat, George St. Pierre. I'm going to tell you that, right now. A guy with that Manny Pacquiao state of mind, he just has that, he's going to say, look, fuck all the skill shit. I'm going to come out here and I'm going to rush you. And I'm stronger than you, I'm better than you, and you're going to lose. That's the kind of guy that's going to beat him. And you may say that remains not to be seen at this point. But believe me, there's a guy out there, in the welterweight division, that's going to kick his ass, you know what I'm saying? And it's going to expose him that he's not as good as you guys think he really is, you know what I'm saying? And that being said, Josh Koscheck is going to lose this fight going in with George St. Even though I wasn't going to give a prediction, but I ended up doing it anyways. Josh Koscheck will get knocked out in this fight. That's what I see happening. But other than that, George St. Pierre does not have a chance against Anderson Silva. He does not. He does not, because for the simple fact, Anderson Silva, his takedown defense sucks. I agree. He has some of the worst takedown defense in the game. But that being said, it doesn't impress me when you're able to take Anderson Silva down. That is the reason. If you're able to get Anderson Silva down, that doesn't impress me. You know, Travis Lutter took him down. You know, I think Damian Maia even took him down once. I don't know. Nate Marquardt took him down. You know, the list just goes on and on. You know, Rich Franklin even took him down once. Dan Henderson was able to take him down and still around from him. But you gotta understand, Anderson Silva does have a good ground game, but his ground game is a little bit overrated, if you ask me. You know, his ground game is not, his jiu-jitsu is not that good, but it is good. It is good. You know, don't get it twisted. And I believe that anything can happen if in that fight, if they ever fought with George St. Pierre. And really, with George St. Pierre taking Anderson Silva down to the ground, I don't see him beating the fuck out of George St. Pierre. I mean, beating the fuck out of Anderson Silva. You know, ground and pounding him into a submission. You know, I don't see him beating in the decision, because at the beginning of every round, you start out on their feet. And believe me, Anderson Silva, his striking is that spectacular to where he can learn a flying knee or something out of nowhere and knock George St. Pierre's fucking head off and knock him out. Laid out on the canvas. Period. You know what I'm saying? And that's just what can happen. You know, and this video is going to go into a part 3, continuing the conversation with him, with George St. Pierre versus Anderson Silva. It's going to continue going into part 3. So hopefully you guys come over and watch this before you leave these comments.